Nobody expected the Snute Inquisition here in WCS Valencia, although looking at his results, it seems like he did. He certainly turned up here for WCS Valencia, and he goes up against SpeCial, eliminating our WCS champion, two-time champion, in fact, for 2017. Welcome back, ladies and gents, to the desk, as I have to the left of me people smiling at me because they think I'm funny. It's going to be Nathanius and Pig. I can say anything I want, and I can get away with it.
We're laughing with you, James. With you.
Yeah?
Can you, though?
Yeah, maybe not. You're right. You're right. You were in the host role before, so you probably know as well. Gentlemen, we have a series on our hands in just a few moments' time. Snute going up against SpeCial, both of which have had very storied legacies in the matchup itself. But now, we really didn't expect Snute to be here, to be honest with you, in the top 4. And considering that Neeb has just been eliminated, there was the potential that SpeCial might not have been here as well.
Yeah, I mean, that was such a close match there. I think SpeCial definitely earned it over Neeb.
Yes.
A lot of people, I think, maybe looking at that last match, were like, oh, it's a little bit cheesy. To be fair, though, the game before that, SpeCial kind of threw away a bit of a lead. You know, he split his army in half for no reason and kind of took some poor engagement.
Yeah.
So I think SpeCial's definitely fought his way through here. He's earned it. He's deserved it. And I think he's got a very good chance against Snute, despite a history which kind of tilts in Snute's favor in past years.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to say because I feel like SpeCial played a really good series against Neeb. He pulled out the right cards when he needed to. And that series against Kellezer, like, it was not a close 3-0. Like, Kellezer threw both games to start that series off. He could have very easily won the first game. The second game was maybe a little bit more in Snute's hands. But outside of that Met game where Kellezer definitely does not have his strength in that matchup, Snute looked very sloppy, and I think if SpeCial brings the same kind of sharpness that he brought to the last series against Neeb, I'm feeling pretty good about the Mexican Terran's chances, to be honest.
Well, Latin America in general has done very well here in 2017. We've seen that Kellezer was able to push himself far. Now we've seen SpeCial push himself far. Are you happy to have yet another Terran here in the top 4 at least?
Oh, it feels good, man. We only have a couple of guys to cheer for that have been making these deep runs. Kellezer was like the surprise for me in terms of the deep runs this year because SpeCial's basically been like the guy that the torch is on. Maybe a couple years ago you would have had Bunny, but back then Snute was also the Zerg player that made it to the top, and he's not that guy anymore. And if he makes it to this grand final, that's him reminding everybody how good he is. This is an extremely important semi for him because he is not a semi-final finisher player. He is known as a grand final finisher. He is a guy that wins championships. He is the person that you cheer for to take it all. And if he goes down here, it is still not enough.
Very true. Let's hear from our semi-finalists going into this next round of 4.
We have a Brazilian Terran hoping for back-to-back semifinals and a Norwegian Zerg hoping for his first top 4 of the year. Up next is Kellezer and Snute.
As Snute marches forward, he's going to get his revenge. He's been denied before. Kellezer's just kind of coming to bear. He scans the 6 o'clock, sees it's fully saturated, and says, GG, Snute is going to 3-0 here in the quarterfinals.
So far this event I've been doing pretty well, and I often beat pretty much everyone in the WCS circuit on the ladder, so I really hope I could repeat this performance in an actual tournament. This is my chance to play as well as I do on ladder, and I hope I can do that. So I definitely think I can make the finals, and if I do make the finals, I think there's a very, very real chance that I can win it too.
Neeb has just been winning everything.
We're about to find out if he can go one step closer to another championship or if SpeCial can upset our champion.
And there's so many Marines with these Cyclones. SpeCial takes a staggering supply lead as he blows this Protoss army to bits. GG! SpeCial defeats Neeb.
I reached semifinals in Season 1 and I lost to Neeb. I ran of 8 and lost to Neeb last season as well. And I played Neeb against, funny enough, so I've been doing well. I lost 1 map so far, but that doesn't mean much. I need to win. There's no other tricks.
SpeCial very close to a grand final here. Staggering results there from him defeating Neeb in our round of 8. Boys, looking at how SpeCial has approached this tournament so far, looking at how he was able to dispatch of Zanster in the round of 16 very importantly, he's got good chances here against our remaining Zergs.
Absolutely. I mean, SpeCial in the past, He's one of these players who's kind of known for a very aggressive multi-prong Zerg, Terran versus Zerg. Sometimes, though, he would let the game slip up as the games would go to the later stages, but I think he started to clean everything up in the later mid-game. We see him kind of rallying these drops. I think it was Sequencer against Zanster. There was a moment where he was kind of dropping, he was all over Zanster.
Yeah.
Zanster took 1 or 2 good engagements and was like, oh, is he going to come back? And Major was like, nah, flawless macro, kept taking bases and just kept on dropping.
His decision-making in the other games was also impeccable, dealing with the Knight's play very well.
Yep.
He made the right call to cancel the factory, get the second Cyclone up, get the +1 attack for it. Bunch of very small things that allowed him to secure victory after the defense of that build. So he's got his crazy crisis zone management stuff under wraps. And I think that this metagame right now for a player like SpeCial works out very well versus Zerg, considering the gold base has been tuned back on Blood Boil.
Yep.
He's shown that he can play mech. Having that range is extremely important. We saw the Gloomy help employ that to great effect in the GSL.
Yep.
And I think that, especially with the strength of Reapers and the popularity of those builds, SpeCial can and will use everything against Snute in this matchup. And Snute has to stay on his toes, because we kind of talked about it. He's that guy that likes to Roach Ravager. We did see some Ling Bane out of him against Kelazur, but it wasn't like he dominated Kelazur by any means in those games.
Well, seems like he could be the way of 1,000 fists here, as and SpeCial is going to be going into this series in just a few moments' time. It's time to find out who our next semi-finalist even is going to be.
Laser sits in the grand finals, and his opponent will be decided between Norway and Mexico. Will it be the most successful foreigner of all time, or will our major Terran player be able to make the grand finals for the first time ever? Please give it up for Snute and SpeCial!
Handshakes exchanged. Let's get down to business here in the round of 4. Snute versus SpeCial. Regardless of who goes on to the grand finals, we will have a new WCS champion for 2017. And Snute, no stranger to the limelight here, Nathanius.
Absolutely not. He's been on the top of everybody's list of favorite Zerg players for years now. Those earnings are there for a reason. He's won tons of tournaments. He's been a champion. And this guy, surprisingly being one of the most favorited foreign Terran players in StarCraft 2, doesn't have those big championships outside of the Latin American region, where he regularly dominates and destroys. We don't see him coming out and winning the DreamHacks. We didn't see him coming out and winning WCSs or IEMs. So this is a chance to get one of those big slam dunk premier championships. And of course, he has to get there first, going through Snute.
There's a huge contrast between the two. As you're mentioning, Snute had the weight of the foreign scene on his shoulders for a long time. And yes, he was producing championship results. And then on the other side, you've got SpeCial, who didn't really have the weight of the foreign scene on his shoulders, but everyone expected him to push on far. Never really did, but 2017 is showing up.
He's changed a lot. We've seen a reincarnation, you know? Went by Major before. Last year, he played Snute, I believe it was 6 times, and he lost 5 of those in series. A lot of the times in big tournaments, things like the WCS Winter Championship 2016, lost 1 to 3. Had a lot of leads in those games against Snute, wasn't able to close them out. Just kept not being able to play that late game. But the only time they've played this year, it was back in Yenchiping just a month ago, not even that. He actually defeated Snute 2-0, and I think this is the new Major, or SpeCial as we call him now. It's the new reincarnation of him. He's just a stronger player. He's been training hard. He's much more dedicated and focused than I personally have ever seen him in his entire history as a player.
He seems to run rings around some of his Zerg's opponents as well. When we saw him against Zanster, I said the way of 1,000 fists just before this break, but that's because he was constantly Widow Mines everywhere, drops hitting everywhere. His multitasking is absolutely on point.
Yep, and he had to bust out some crazy tricks to be able to beat Neeb, and I believe that Neeb is still a more solid player overall than SpeCial. So when I look at Snute and the way that he played versus Kelazur, I don't see that same strength, the same rock-solid stability out of Snute. Snute took a lot of heavy blows from Kelazur. He got blasted away by the 2-1-1, barely had to recover in that game. And even in the second game follow-up, took a lot of damage from the harass. So I expect to see if SpeCial can bring that same intensity. He doesn't need to play as cleanly as Neeb to win this. He just needs to play the same style that he's doing, very solid, very straight up, because Snute is not invincible by any means to that early aggression.
All right, it seems that we are ready to go into our next round of 4 match here for the WCS Valencia. So without further ado, let's head over to our commentary team for Snute going up against SpeCial.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the last semi-final of the day. Who will be taking on a laser in those finals? Will it be the man of 1,000 headbutts coming out of Mexico, the Terran player, SpeCial? Or is it going to be the opponent, Snute, who we've seen in so many finals, but not for a while, trying to return back to that old glory? Rotterdam, what do you think?
It's been indeed a while. I was just looking at the history of Snute, and obviously he has such a beautiful career with so many top fours, finals as well. 2016 was a great year for him, but it has been a while. Let's go ahead and introduce the players first, as we're looking at the main base of our Zerg player, representing Team Liquid. Give it up for Snute. Was he yawning, Jeff?
I hope not. If he was, get it out of the way now, because we're in for a breakneck pace game with this guy here in the top left-hand corner, coming from Mexico, defeating his nemesis, and now trying to get to the finals. It's SpeCial.
I really think this is super cool semi-final. I'm expecting the games to be pretty high level as well. I like the way that Snute played against Calazur. It was indeed a little scrappy, a little messy. He wasn't ready for a couple of those first attacks. But the fact that he bounced back against the way that Calazur has been playing this year, he was not always ahead. He often even fell behind. But he turned it around against the Calazur that has been on fire. And that means something as well, Jeff. So I really think this is going to be a close, competitive series. And I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the ride and let you do all the joking.
Well, that's fine. I'm ready for it. We got the best seat in the house. I hope so. You know, we were a little bit critical because Snute did take a pretty standard opening and make it look about as difficult as possible. He was actually able to come back and win that game, though. And for me, that's almost the more important information, because guess what? He should, in this best of 5, at times, and hopefully not too many times if you're a Snute fan, fall behind against SpeCial. SpeCial's extremely fast. A lot of harass, will mix up the builds, is very cutting-edge Korean style, but for Snute to show us that he has comeback potential is very important. And one of the things Pig was talking about, both at the desk but also behind the scenes, is that Snute likes to play a little bit of a different brand of ZvT. It's very kind of Roach Ravager, Infestor-centric, something that was a little bit more popular in the meta a little while ago, but right now he's still doing it.
Yep, early 2016, that was all the phase back then, when we had Snute make it to a final with that playstyle. He was one of the very best at it. Nurture was doing it as well back then. The only difference was that I think Snute always went for Broodlords, and I think Nurture always went for Ultras, or it was the other way around. Either way, they were doing it. He made it to the final back then, 2016, early on, WCS against Polt. He lost that final, but still had a great tournament run. But ever since then, you know, it's kind of odd, because 2016 was a good year for Snute. He won. Not one tournament, but he won 2 tournaments pretty much in a row. The Neo Star League in China, a lot of money on the line. He won in Mexico, and we kind of just thought he was going to continue that trend. We were excited to see him at the Global Finals as he picks up an SCV there. That's kind of nice. Look at SpeCial, one of his SCVs is not mining either. It's on follow. I hope that he fixes that, because that's basically 2 SCVs right now that were supposed to mine and are not mining. Pretty big deal. But yeah, it's odd what has been happening to Snute in 2017. And it's not like he's been terrible, but we just expect better when you look at his resume.
You know, we always find ourselves saying this kind of things, but the beautiful thing about StarCraft and really the scene at whole is it's hard to remain consistent. So the fact that Snute has been one of those guys who's been winning since several years now, and he's over $300,000 in earnings and in prize winnings, so that's all very impressive. And I agree with you. I'm one of those guys too that's like, you know, we're used to seeing this, but it's pretty cool to see them kind of seesaw and claw their way back into it. It's a big mental game. Getting in the game here, we do see SpeCial is going to opt for a little bit of a different opening. It's going to be Hellions, Marines, and Medevac. A little bit of a mix. A lot of times we'll see either the Hellions or the Marines, but this time it's going to be a bit of a mixture with a Widow Mine there for safety.
But I feel whenever you want to go for an opening like this, every second truly matters. And I think those 2 Zerglings already messed him up a little bit. So he's just going to pick up the Marines and that one Widow Mine for now. And I guess he's going to
single SCV.
He's going to send the Hellions later on. SCVs trading?
There's
in the
one SCV in the Medevac. It's not the biggest of deal, but it's really weird.
Yeah.
They're like sitting in there and they're like, hey, what are you doing? And he's like, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
He's like,
I can make a missile turret if we need to, I guess.
I've got my drilling claws ready.
that was his job.
Yeah.
The poor guy is like, pick me up.
He absorbed a couple of shots. Major instead is going to try to do some damage in the natural of Snute, but so far Snute is having a rock-solid defense. Let's see where all those queens are. Another Zergling sneaks into the main, and this kind of stuff is just annoying. Because right now, SpeCial wants to be looking at his units. He does not want to pay attention to his own mineral line.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, ultimately it does no damage, but to your point, it gets a scout, it's being a little bit annoying, it's diverting his attention. And it is a cloaked Banshee opening. Our wonderful observer, Coca, did that get spotted? Because that's a big deal if it did.
Should have seen the tech lab at least. Maybe Snute didn't see it spinning, but he definitely saw the tech lab.
The tech lab should be good enough intel on that, I guess. Yeah. I mean, it could be a Raven, but you at least have an Overseer or a Spore Prod.
The Armory has finished up, but a couple of Marines have already been picked off. And that's a lot of queens. I mean, Hellbats are good, but against this many queens, I am not sure if that's going to be enough. I really don't think that Snute should be in all this much trouble. He is losing a couple of drones, though. Not sure where.
Okay.
I'd like to see him kill the medevac. Yeah.
Gets the medevac, holds us off. Flanks with the Zerglings. Goes for a surround on this. Like you said, he lost a couple of drones. It was to that Liberator right there, which does escape with its life. So, okay, harassed. But I got to give this early game edge to Snute. Really great defense. Great scouting so far. And I will say, uncharacteristically sloppy play from SpeCial. He's been making some mistakes.
We saw 15 drones at once on the production tab for Snute. Snute plays a way where he's just playing incredibly greedy. He delays his style by quite a bit, which is why I didn't really mind the Liberator range opening we saw come out of Kalazura and Proxima, which I think had some success. I don't think that's necessarily where the game went wrong, but Snute with that late Roach Warren, that late layer, going double Evo as well, but a ridiculous amount of queens. This Porker is going to move, and SpeCial is going to have to be very careful here, because if all those queens can get one volley off, this bench kick could fall very, very quickly.
Gets a few drone kills, and that's been the most successful aspect of his harass so far, and even that has not been phenomenal. Another Banshee coming out here as well, and behind this, look at that mech attack upgrade going on. Is this going to be mech style? Is there more factories?
mean, he's making 4 Cyclones
Two
at
factories.
Once. All right.
Well, all right then.
Good old Abyssal.
Getting a little bit freaky in game number 1. The Banshee does spot that these rocks are being worked on, and that project may end up finishing, but at what cost? Oh my gerb, it doesn't even finish. Anyways, doesn't matter. Liberator shows up here at the 3rd, just outside that Spore Crawler. It's going to get some drone kills.
Yeah, there are a couple of queens here that are going to be able to work on it as well. One queen actually falls. I mean, normally kind of a bigger deal than it actually is right now, since Snute still has like 7 or 8 or 9 queens. And yeah, SpeCial's just, this is going to be a long game, and it's probably going to be a very long series, Jeff. We were joking a little bit on Twitter, as Snute loves to just sit back and defend, and SpeCial is actually quite comfortable with playing very long, drawn-out games as well. He's going to go for a little bit of attack here. These Hellions can obviously morph into Hellbats.
More factories. Which is kind of interesting because we did get to see a... Well, I mean, just changing up style is really important, actually, the more I think about it. But this push is coming over here on the right side. What kind of army are we looking at? It's a bunch of queens, some roaches.
Those Banshees taking a lot of damage. One Banshee actually does fall, a little bit sloppy there. The other one took a lot of damage already. I mean, SpeCial would really love to get some serious work done here, but again, against these roaches, all these queens, and the Ravages on creep. The only thing that this allows SpeCial to do is get his fort base up and running without really having to worry about too much stuff. But Jeff, I hear you're getting a little excited.
Yeah, we got some Swarm hosts coming out. That is the like beginner kit to long game. If you want to, you want the game to get delayed. They're not the Swarm host of old, of course. They're more of a siege unit, but it makes it really hard against mech. It's one of the first things you go for because it just kind of hurls units at them that make tanks really difficult. They make holding a base difficult, and their escapability is quite strong typically.
Yep, quite a bit of cruise threat already as well. A couple of these Cyclones are going to be a little bit exposed. It seems like Snute just wants to dive on top of his army. These Helmets are going to get picked off, and these Cyclones are going to try to run away. This Hellion run by, though, could be quite successful, as I believe the units were a little bit out of position for Snute.
Yeah, in those long, drawn-out games like you're talking about, this is going to be key. You got to constantly jump on top of those drones. Sometimes you get the Zerg to over-drone, like they overcompensate. Oh, no, I lost 9 drones, better make 30, and then they're stuck at like 95 drones for a little while. Or they don't remake the drones, or they make mistakes like having 2 out of 3 on gas, stuff like that. Yep. So good harass.
Yep, this stuff is just annoying, but let's see what these Swarmos are going to be able to achieve on the other side of the map. Snute is getting a ridiculous amount of Swarmos, by the way, because he already has 6 or 7, and he's making 11 more, so he's going to go up to 17 or 18 Swarmos. Good luck, have fun if you're a major. I'm not exactly sure how he's going to deal with it. This first wave of Locusts, you know, that's going to be annoying. Might do a little bit of damage, but should not kill this Planetary, even though I'd like to see him repair it. I guess it's going to be all right in the end.
That was gross.
The next wave, though, Jeff, 17, 18 Swarmos. You kidding me?
It's going to do almost 3 times as much damage, Kevin.
That's a lot of
I
damage.
crunched those numbers on the fly.
Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 6. Yeah. 3 times 6, 18.
But he's only got 17.
I know, so it's almost. You're right. I was complimenting your math.
I'm not used to this. All right, Swarmos, here we go. They've got more friends. And they're getting real close. Gonna pop it, go for it. And in they go, causing that damage. You gotta watch the Planetary. You gotta repair that, and he will.
It's taking a lot of damage, though. A couple of Roaches and Ravagers gonna try to get a few more hits off as well. These are the initial Swarmos that are popping their Locusts now. These Locusts are gonna dive on top of the tanks, and the first tank does go down. But so far, this Planetary lives. Meanwhile, there's a very annoying Cloak Banshee in the middle of the map, shooting at 9 Queens, all full of energy. But it seems like Snute is doing some excellent work here, though. As long as he doesn't overcommit and doesn't end up losing these Swarmos, you gotta love everything that Snute is doing so far.
Good Liberator harass, but unfortunately the Spore Crawlers will go ahead and finish that on both sides. And they can get back to work. Here comes Swarmos. So, I mean, what do you do about this if you're watching it? Ideally, you have things like Hellions able to run them down, or maybe quick Banshees, but both of those are not really available right now to Special, so he's just kind of got to bite the bullet. And here they come in again, just doing that damage.
This time, I think the Planetary is going to fall, Jeff. There really aren't that many STBs to repair it. And there she goes. Planetary goes down. There is another Planetary, I believe, morphing on the low ground. But if Snute can deny that one, too, from this point on, it's going to be really hard for Special to get the units that he wants. Look at the bank. He's broke as a joke, pretty much.
Yeah, he's having a tough time affording anything right now, with the Swarmos just kind of being at danger close range. Not mining off that Planetary just yet. And keep in mind, a Planetary does not offer you things like mules as well, so its ability to kind of explosively jumpstart your economy is a little bit limited. And Snute's going to head back. He's still at about max supply. If you look at the production tab, he is adding some Vipers, and he's getting 2 armor upgrades as well as 3 range attacks. So he's not really taking a decisive turn tech-wise. There's a surround of Locusts there as well.
Yeah, that's a lot of Locusts. Going to force a lot of these tanks to unsiege. Special's going to do whatever he can to pick up a couple of these tanks and save them. But the Swarmos count is ridiculously high. I love the way that Snute has played this game from start to finish. He's been rock solid all along.
Yeah.
He's been annoying, and he's not been too passive. You know, if you have a good start, then try to push your advantage a little bit, and that's exactly what he did. He's like, okay, you're up to 4 bases, but I'm going to make sure you can never enjoy your 4 bases.
Yep.
And Major never really had the time to truly enjoy the 4 or 5 base economy that obviously he wants with this mech army.
You know what 17 Swarmos are missing?
Number 18.
3 more Swarmos. 20 is just such a nice number.
Why?
I have no idea. I don't know what it does, but he is trying to get towards it. And they're going to dive on top of the tanks. They have to unsiege again. I like that he's using the medevacs to kind of pick up the wounded tanks, but he's also not really repairing them, so they're sitting at pretty low health. Good Hellion harass here, and it's actually, if you look at Snute's supply, they're equal in workers. It's kind of falling back here. My problem, Kevin, is how do you stabilize against this many Swarmos? Like, every time they throw a wave at you, you are taking damage, and they're not. They're just really not.
But this is kind of one way, right? Because he's buying a lot of time. 26 drones. This has been by far the most successful drive-by that Special's had all game long. And he also bought a lot of time. Look at these supply right now.
Look at the
It's at 164. So he's actually kind of recovering. Of course, we have to make the argument. Look at the attack of Snute. He's getting Ultras, Spire, maybe a Greatest Spire as well. And then look at the bank. 3,500 minerals in the bank.
What is Coca falling in love with the pieces of the Zerg floating up to the heavens? Now, Special has stabilized on some level, a little bit there, but here comes the mixture of an army. Viper's in the mix now as well, I think for the first time. Got to be careful.
Jeff, we had a famous game a while ago where 13 Swarmos died, and we don't really know what happened.
I didn't.
Obviously, now over time, we saw a couple of Swarmos die here and there, and obviously Snute is going to try to, you know, free up a little bit of supply as well, but he went from like 18, 19 Swarmos to 5. That's a lot of that.
Did you see them die?
Oh, one by one, kind of.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you did.
That last one hit the windshield, actually. And here we go. Special's going to push out. He's got a little bit of Vikings. Might wonder why that is for the Vipers. need to have some semblance of anti-air so he can fend those out. And he's going to go for it. Jumps on top of him, trying to get them before the spells go off. Good spread on the tanks. The blinding clouds go down, trying to stop the front lines from doing out their damage, and they do a great job. Snute is going to be able to chew through that. A lot of the tanks in the background. The spell is kind of wavering now, so they are getting their damage in there.
Yeah, a lot of those blinding clouds have expired, which means that these tanks are going to be able to shoot again, and they're just wailing away at those Hydras and Roaches. And yeah, the supply is still very close, but that was a good fight for SpeCial, though. Of course, he lost a couple of expensive units, but Snute lost way more there. He is trying to remax with ultras and stuff, but that is one dead hatchery.
It was a pretty good fight. The devil's advocate thing that I would say here, though, is that it's harder for SpeCial to resupply his army than it is for Snute, and that screen right there kind of shows it off. There's ultras coming out here as well. The ultras are going to add a bunch.
But I mean, Snute was up like 1 or 2 bases and had 3,500 minerals in the bank, and it really felt like he was in control.
Okay.
Oh, that was by accident.
That always happens. That's why I did that name. I get $7 every time someone says that. And here we go.
He's going to go for it.
Fight was good or not. The ultras leading the charge. They're going to jump in there. They're cleaving through a couple of abducts. Lots and lots of Zerg going through. The supply is still fairly even, but the day is won on that fight, at least for now, from Snute.
Yeah, Snute is very roach heavy now, though. And whenever you're even on supply against a meching opponent, but your army mostly consists of roaches, that's where I get a little bit worried. Snute had a beautiful early game. He's going to run up this ramp, and he's going to be able to actually break SpeCial here, because the other tanks were not seized up yet. That one Ultra has been an absolute champ, but you can't run through those liberation zones.
Not healthy. You couldn't do it in a healthy manner. He's going to back away. Retaking the 6 o'clock base. Coca's showing us these key upgrades coming in here as well. 3 armor upgrade and 2 more starports for our Terran player, as well as some cheeky upgrades on that Spire. Could go towards the Greater Spire eventually. Maybe add some Corruptors just to kind of clean up the Liberator stuff we're starting to see.
Yeah, but Snute is just not that rich anymore, because that first fight was kind of a disaster, that he lost so much. He was forced to remax on, I think, an army he doesn't really want to remax on. How many drones have fallen in this game so far? I guess we're like at 50 at least by now, no? 71. You can really see that these run-bys over time have definitely been adding up. And, you know, the first few were not that successful. 22 Swarmos have gone down in this game as well.
This time well documented. We saw a lot of them. One at a time splash into our windshield. As we are here in our science vessel overlooking the battlefield, commentating on this match. Broadcasting live to you guys from the Marsara TV radio station.
From Seoul, Korea. Oh, no, wait. We're in Valencia.
Marsara, dude. I got all fluffy on this one. Oh, gosh. This army's out in the middle. It's getting flanked, actually, and the tanks aren't sieged. Oh, Snute, though, of course, really unfamiliar with attacking. He's just going to back it up.
That would have been hard, though, with the Cyclones there as well and all these...
Get out, Kevin.
Up a ramp with all your roaches through choke points. I don't know. I can blame Snute there for not just running up that ramp.
All right.
It's not the weirdest thing ever.
Good cop, bad cop. Rotterdam's going to be the good one, as I can see here. A little bit of a drop on top of that. He's going to go for that 6 o'clock cancellation again. Missile turrets going to be added here to try and mix it in. Snute might be sniffing out a cheeky counterattack. It's one of the best ways to handle mech. Cuts off reinforcements and can really hurt the underbelly of an army here.
A couple of those Liberators are not ready yet, but you need to drop those crossbows. Might actually get a double kill on one of those. Was very close. Did some damage on the other one. More drones going down as well. Oh. This game is getting incredibly messy. Where is the army of Snute? He has 126 army supply. Just not sure where it is.
It's coming. It's right above here. It's going to have to fight. The issue has been pushed. SpeCial is threatening a key base here.
Blinding Cloud. Those tanks are awfully clumped up, by the way.
They are. They are. There's still some Vikings up there, though. But there they go. Vipers going off to the left flank. They're going to get the blinding clouds off there. A little bit of repositioning, but still several. Now an abduct forward. A lot of tanks. They're on siege. They're coming forward. A really good fight potentially for Snute, who is taking a massive supply advantage here, getting on top of the tanks and cleaning up this army.
That is the fight that the Liquid Zerg wanted. Those Liberators were a little too late as well. Corrosive Balls are going to take care of those. Maybe even one of the Medivacs go down. That was beautiful. Great blinding cloud. And did you see how he abducted the only tank that wasn't blinding clouded into the blinding cloud? I was like, all right, you get over here as well. But come on, this is the moment where Snute kind of needs to step it up a little bit. You just take a fantastic fight. He cleaned up 9, 10, 11 tanks. I don't think this is a moment where you want to sit back and be like, all right.
I super agree, Kevin. After you kill an army like that, you pull back and just defend forever. Right?
Good cop, bad cop, ridiculous cop.
Am I the third as well?
Yes.
Gosh darn it. Okay, well, even Snute is probably going to end up trying to attack. Oh, I like this little cheeky Thor here. Doesn't get the cancel. Kills it.
It's going to pull the entire army
back. Yeah, you
back.
got it. I mean, it's a Thor. Have you seen what Thors can do? Did you watch Transformers?
Which one?
They're all bad. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't watch any of them.
I watched the one with the Bumblebee.
Yeah, that
was great.
Wow. I'm sorry. Here we go. Dude's going to push forward. He's on top of the tanks. Another late siege here. Some Banshees being added to the mix too. Air superiority being taken by SpeCial. He's kind of recognizing that. Going to try to add in a few Banshees, but going out here, he just keeps losing so many tanks though.
Yep. And I mean, it's also going to be hard. But what I'm worried about for Snute is that Snute is not really applying pressure on the side of the map where I feel right now it matters, and that's where SpeCial's taking all those expands. You know, he took 9 o'clock, which is normally a very hard base to take, and now even took 7 as well, you know, just... This is an orbital, Jeff. It's in the freaking orbital.
There's some kind of weird...
Does Snute even know?
Agreement between the two of them to not fight over there?
Oh my god. Yeah, it's like a peace zone.
It's that game of Risk where red and black ally together, and you're over there playing green in Australia, and you're like, what is going on? Why are they not fighting over Africa? I don't understand it. That's what happened right there. Some Hellions going to pull in. It was 71 drones. Go ahead and count them up. We're going to get over 100, I guarantee it. And nice little score here, but I have to agree with your point.
Big army. Can we take a look at the planetary real quick as these Liberators were out of position? A couple of tanks are getting blinding cloud and then abducted as well. Snute is like, all right, I am sick and tired of losing drones and turning around. This time, at least I want to kill planetary. And normally, this is like game-ending economic damage.
But he has no idea.
Yeah, but Snute, he has both bases in the left bottom side of the map.
But Snute.
Oh.
99. It's happening, though.
You guaranteed it.
I guaranteed it. I will get up out of this caster pod science vessel overlooking the battlefield, and I will eject myself from the broadcast if we don't get to 100.
These Banshees are super fast. They've got the speed upgrade. Makes it really, really hard to just keep up with them, especially if your queens are trying to walk somewhere off creep. I mean, look at these guys. Look at the little graphics as well.
Check the left side of the map.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
This is the, like, verse mech PTSD where you don't know how much money they have because you're not familiar with it as much. So you're like, man, there's a lot of units still coming out of there. Where's he getting this this money? It's almost like he has the lower left-hand side of the map.
SpeCial's getting quite funky with these speed Banshees. He's being as annoying as possible. Maybe one of them could get abducted in range of this Spore Crawler, but there just isn't that much anti-air, and a lot of it just isn't fast enough. Oh, Hydras! Interception. What? He shoot at his own unit?
I like that scan, though. Give them a little bit of radiation to think about what they just
They
did.
are expanding next to each other. Can we take a look? Can we pan out a little bit? It's like, Snute, there's actually a base there on the left side.
He's like, now normally I wouldn't attack that, but I'm going to consider it really strong.
Yep. And Major is going to see Creep getting awfully close to him. So he's like, all right, I'm going to push this army back. This is a very, very, very intimidating army by SpeCial. And this time the setup is a lot better as well. One blinding cloud is not going to get all the tanks.
It gets a lot, though, Kevin. A lot of the tanks, and there's an abduction as well, but he's just being held back for a little long here. So many tanks not firing, though, so stepping forward is near. The supply is not dropping almost at all. Gets on top of those tanks. There's 4 on the high ground. They're going to be tough. Is Snute going to go for it, though? And he does go up there. Now, unfortunately, Rotterdam, with this trade, Snute is almost guaranteed to not check the 6 o'clock base.
That one tank actually survives and gets a couple of extra shots off, but in the end, it seems like the Viking's going to fall as well. Snute, please take a look up that ramp. Like, I don't even know. Why would you not?
It's going to get scouted by a creep.
By a creep tumor, probably. This one tank that survived has actually fired off like 7 or 8 shells by now.
And 5 kills.
That's not even about the kills, but it's about the damage he's been putting out, Jeff.
Like, I know.
Yeah. That is a tank that has done way too much work.
Man, if Snute goes on to lose this game, because one of those bases is literally an orbital, the other is a single planetary all the way across the map from the rest of the Terran base.
And he's doing such a good job in checking all the bases on the top side of the map. It's just like, he's just never seen this before, apparently.
And he's getting television overtaking this base, too. He's just dialing in.
Abducting one of the Taurs takes a lot of damage, but these tanks are much more spread out now. I really thought the setup was better the previous time, but 2 blinding clouds still did a lot of work.
Good abducts, though. It's just a few tanks on the high ground shooting. Good abducts, again, moving those Liberators around. There's not a lot hitting them, just the Queens, but they end up dying. And another good fight for Snute. He's going to take this win. That tank finally does die on the high ground. everything mech is getting cleaned up, and it's so hard to replace that. If any one of these bases were to fall, he would not be able to replace it.
I mean, look at the gas income, or look at the gas bank, rather, or SpeCial. It's completely non-existent. Same goes for Snute. Snute, you really don't have to be in here. You can just go to the left side one time and try to do some economic damage.
He might just accidentally win another good Blinding Cloud. There's some good Corrosive Biles. He's on top of the tanks. If he can get to the production, he will most certainly deal a death blow.
Not enough, though. I mean, Snute is very rich. He's actually going to reinforce with Zerglings. Snute, send those links to the Orbiter at 9 o'clock, and I think you've pretty much done it.
But he has no idea about 9 o'clock. He's denying 12 o'clock.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, I mean, that's one base that maybe he should know about, but there is that base, the Orbital. That's the one. This base is almost mined out. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I know we're keying in on a lot of this and really focusing on it, but honestly, it is the story of this game. Snute has mined out a lot of his bases. This is one of the last remaining bases. His drone count's not super mega high. It's still pretty okay.
If these Hellions lead these queens towards the planetary.
Nope. SpeCial knows that trick. He's been doing a lot of positioning stuff this whole game.
I think Snute is going to go for it from this point forward. I think he's like, where are you getting your units from? This makes absolutely no sense. Come on, Snute. You've got a whole bunch of links.
Oh, my goodness.
These speed benches are going to be very annoying.
Wait. There's something moving over there. What is that? Roaches.
They're going to check for the orbital.
No, he's scouting everything but that.
Well, that's fine. At least he finds the orbital.
He finds one of the two?
Yes. Oh, now he's going to see the SCVs being transferred to the other base as well.
Like, why did nobody tell me there was a base there?
Abysso is a map that's not played that frequently, though, Jeff.
You know what the worst part is when you scout it and the mineral piles are like depleted low and you're like, oh my God.
I mean, this base, it's not that bad as this planetary is finally going to be on the fire. A lot of SCVs are here to repair it. But it's the other one, it's the orbital that should have never been, you know, allowed to mine in the first place.
That's gonna be it, right? I mean, finding this, being able to do that, that's the army of SpeCial. It is scary.
Ooh, that's still.
But the fights have not been the issue for Snute. He's been doing a great job with the Viking or Viper play. Excuse me.
The problem now is that there's only 2 Vipers. This time Snute is very, very roach heavy. So the numbers are a tiny bit deceiving because Snute was kind of running low on gas as well. So Snute's army is actually not as sick and intimidating as it was before. I still like his army more. It's a bigger army, but this is not a default win.
That Blinding Cloud, though, a good concave, jumping on top when half your tanks aren't shooting. I don't care if you got roaches or if you got Hydras, they're gonna get the job done for a little bit here. Landing the Vikings to try and buy some time. The Thors are dead. There's no way to replace this. SpeCial supply is plummeting. A bit of a trade here with that Thor on the high ground, maybe?
Yep, that one Thor stands strong. Look at the HP in all these units. There's like no HP left, but look at Snute.
2 Ultras coming out.
The Ultras, I think.
And the Queens. Remember them?
Yep.
We got this. Don't you worry, young boys.
The problem is the armor upgrade is going to be pretty strong, but they can just keep that one Ultra alive. We're going to get flashbacks of
Suppy.
The old days. The Suppy, a Ghost 2 user.
Yep. Suppy recently married, by the way.
I saw that. Congratulations,
Congratulations to Suppy.
Lovely young man.
He is.
Very smart, too.
He's a good guy.
But
here's the problem. So SpeCial with those 2 bases, you know, it's kind of funny actually that 9 o'clock base is actually still mining, but the 6 o'clock is gone. He's taking 12 o'clock, but he cannot produce.
Ultras.
The Queens are coming in. They're going to start the healing process. Even some SCVs here. Snute, a little bit uncomfortable with that. Backs away. Now leading the charge of the Ultras. Do they live forever? He can transfuse them up to wazoo. He's going to need to. Yep, they're not dying. They're getting on top of that Thor. The Thor's gone, and so is SpeCial's army. The immortal Ultralists march to victory, and Snute takes an incredibly difficult 1 game about 25 minutes ago.
Rocky Balboa and Creed together, charging up that ramp there in the end, Jeff. Well done. What a fun first game. Obviously a little bit silly for us as well. And, you know, we never want to be too hard on the players because this is a big moment for Snute as well. It's been a while that he's been playing a semifinals. So needless to say, he is going to be a little bit nervous. But he did so many things right. And it's just, you know, it's funny because we praise them for all the amazing things they do. And that was obviously a very competitive, high-level SC2 game. And then it's like, the easy things, you know, like send 1 Zergling, send 1 Overlord, and that game could have been a lot easier for Snute, but still an awesome game to watch.
No, I've actually, one of my favorite things to say on that analyst desk is that these guys make probably 25 times more mistakes on that stage than they do sitting in their boxers at home, and that's because of the gravity of what's at stake here, of their opponent, of the pressure. And I personally celebrate it. I like it. A lot of people have this expectation that, like, at the end of a tournament, you see these players that are just flawless and they never make mistakes. Look at the Need versus SpeCial series where you have two of the players that are two of the cleanest players that we have in our non-Korean scene for sure, but even just in the world, making all kinds of mistakes. It ends up being a weird scouting error. It ends up being some missed micro.
Yep.
But that's because of where they're playing at. I love it.
And it also has to do with the fact that they're both on a very high level. And if you're both being on a very high level, you both try to force mistakes out of your opponent. You know, not every mistake is just like, well, it's up to me that I didn't build a pylon at 9 supply. Like, yes, that is your fault. But the moment you have 3 or 4 bases and your opponent is being active with multiple units across the map, that's where mistakes are being forced because you're just too occupied with other stuff. And obviously you can always say, like, if I was at home, I would be able to keep up with that. If I was at home, you know, I am able to do all these things at once. And it might actually be true, but mistakes are often forced.
Agreed. Thank you guys for joining us. It was a great game number 1. I think as Rotterdam's been saying, we're probably in for a long series. Both these guys stylistically can get us there. You guys are a great audience. I did see that dinosaur out there. Welcome. Unfortunately, we did just have a piece of the Antarctic ice caps fall into the ocean, so you're in for some trouble as well in this era as well. And that's a cat girl.
I love all the cheerfuls. It's always fun to see a lot of them.
Yeah.
Good support for Snute. Saw quite a few of cheerfuls for him out there.
None for the casters, Kevin. Did you notice that?
Oh, there's been a couple, right?
Were there?
I mean, someone just had one with my name on it. Look, teach me your ruddy build.
Well, let me be more specific then. None for me.
All right, audience, get to work. Start drawing. Get something going for
that's fine.
Our good old Jeff. You know, I'd love, like, if I could sit there in the audience, I'd be like, Jeff, I love you on the desk.
Oh, thank you.
That's what I would write.
If I was in the audience, I would hold the sign that says, Roddy, you're awesome.
Aww.
And here comes Mr. Snute Man himself, making his way. This is it. The winner faces a laser. We could have a ZvZ between Snute and a laser. Or we could have another TvZ. But what's really cool about this, it would be a first-time championship for either a laser or SpeCial for the most part. Yep. And then it'd be the first time in a long time for Snute, which is really cool as well. Snute, for a few years there, was just absolutely hands down the greatest. Now he's kind of have to share that stage with some other guys.
Yeah, this is definitely the best run we've seen out of Snute for quite some time, and totally deserves it as well. He's just looking good, and not only in one matchup, but in multiple matchups at once. And obviously he needs it as well. I mean, this hasn't really been his year yet. We weren't even talking that much about Snute when it comes to those WCS points. Yeah. Just because, you know, it's almost like, yeah, Snute is really good, but right now we're kind of more focused on Serral, we're more focused on Nurcho, and even Elaze to some degree, and then obviously the other players representing the other races. But Snute is like, hey, hold on a minute, I still matter, guys. And he's collecting a lot of points here, and maybe can even still claim the direct seed.
Jens Asgard. Like, there is not many people with as cool of a name as that, and he was destined to do well. SpeCial put him to the brink, though. He had a really, really good game there. There was definitely moments where SpeCial could have won that. I mean, we were making a lot of jokes about it being off the fact that some of those bases were exposed. The second they were found, they were in trouble. But until then, fueling the war effort and busting out mech, by the way, which is really cool. I think that's the first time we've seen that at this tournament, at least.
And don't forget that the initial harass is often very, very important with your mech build, and that didn't go SpeCial's way at all. So just imagine if SpeCial can actually catch an opening where his first medevac gets 4 or 5 drones. We could be looking at a completely different game, and perhaps that is what we're going to see as we are loading into Sequencer. I'm looking at the main base of the Zerg, who's up 1-0. Give it up for Snute.
Showing us some interesting stuff, but ultimately falling a little bit short. Here in game number 2, give it up for Mr. SpeCial.
Did you see what I just saw, Jeff?
What was it?
A red dot on the minimap.
Oh, I did not see that.
It's 2 of them.
Oh my goodness.
At least Snute is dropping the spawning pool before the hatchery. For the people who are unfamiliar with StarCraft, Reapers are incredibly popular in this day and age. Reapers are very strong in this matchup though. In particular.
Or is it? Do you go gas that late and you can make Reapers? No. Well, no way. Literally, that's
just gonna. What's he gonna do then? He's gonna make Marines.
But what is the gas?
Yeah, so he's always gonna do something.
Is it a mistake?
No. Did he forget his gas? No. We'll see how this one plays out.
He's literally not going to have any gas
He's going to have
when the barracks finish.
2 Marines. Maybe he's going to make 1 Marine.
This is, right now, there's someone that's watched every single game of GSL, and they're like, ah! This build's been done exactly 3.5 times.
The drone's being pulled immediately.
What is the gas for?
It's very important that this bunker doesn't finish up. I'm sure that SpeCial is going to reveal it to us real soon. But for now, he would love to get this bunker up. And it's important that Snute scouts this, that he prevents this. And he's buying time for himself, getting links out, getting spike out, canceling his own gas, though. Now, what is that all about?
I'm perplexed right now. The bunker is not going down. Is the gas just a follow-up for a factory type of thing?
But normally you don't just transition into a factory after you have 2 barracks out on the map. And you're trying to desperately get a bunker up as well. Snute is going to try to get the wraparound here. Good micro, of course, by SpeCial, but this bunker ain't finishing up. And don't forget about that spine crawler that we had in the main. It's going to run down to the low ground. And if this spine finishes up, I think that Snute is kind of out of the woods here.
And the SCV dies. The other one has about 5 health to its name. That bunker is never going to see the light of day. He's going to back up.
So there is a factory going up at home.
This
is not good enough. Nowhere near good enough for SpeCial.
Look. No, it was a mistake. I'm going to call it. It just was. This is not planned at all. It was meant to be Proxy Reaper, and he forgot the gas.
Nah.
Yes.
I don't want to go that far.
Well, I'm the bad cop. Let me do it.
You can do that.
And now, as the wild card cop.
I think that SpeCial just banked on the fact that Snute would go hatchery first, maybe wouldn't scout it immediately, and then suddenly it's like, surprise, bunker is up, 3 Marines hop into the bunker, and you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And then from that point on...
Double proxy barracks for that, though?
Yeah.
Kevin.
I mean, the Muslim used to do it with 3 barracks.
The Muslim did a lot of things that probably young men across the world should not. It's going to be a reactor. He is expanding behind that. Let us know. Tweet at us. I want to learn. I don't presume to know everything here.
But obviously, like, if SpeCial can force a cancel on either the hatch or he gets the bunker up and he gets a soft contain, then from that point on, he's worried about maybe like link flood into banelings. Well, having a factory at home is going to keep you safe against that. Just a few Hellions.
The Overlord here. That's good.
Yeah, or maybe
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I understand what that could be. I just think SpeCial's he has like 5-6 builds that he does. And that does not strike me as a build that he would do. I don't think proxy double barracks for a hope of a cancellation on a hatch is what he's planning for. It would be much more, it would be like an all-in with no gas, I'm going for it, or it was meant to be proxy Reaper, which is very common, by the way. That's a huge build right now.
Well, it's going to be Cloak Banshees at home.
We'll move past it. We'll move past it.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, whatever. It's interesting.
So whatever SpeCial wanted to do, there's a good chance it was that. Maybe he wanted to do something else, maybe messed up a little bit. Whatever matters is that right now SpeCial's not in a good position at all because it just did not work out. He absolutely did not get what he was looking for. He is 12 workers behind.
Yeah.
An upgrade like Stim is light years away. Maybe we'll never even get to see Stim, even though there are 2 barracks at home now and he's going to go back to producing some Marines. So there's a chance that he does start it. But Jeff, it's going to take forever before this is done.
It's way behind. I'm more laughing because Kevin and I talk in between matches all the time about these, and Kevin's had a sick run right now where he's like, this thing won't happen. And then it happens immediately the second he says it. I've been there too. But hey, Hellions showing up. They're going to get some drone kills. This is the beginning of something good here. The unfortunate thing is, as the point you were making, is that with that Stim so late, that third, never going to be threatened in a million years. This Cloaked Banshee, if it doesn't do damage, and I'm seeing Spore Callers going down already, what do you do? I mean, that's so far in the hole.
Snute looking incredibly good so far in this semifinals, looking to make his first big finals of 2017. Had multiple of them in 2016. Gets the surround there on the Hellions with the drones. Obviously ends up losing a few drones, but that's all right. He's still up 8 workers, 7 more on the way. Is there a Spore in the main too?
Yep.
Yes, there is. The only thing there is not is a layer. It's gonna take a little while. But I mean, what is his Banshee truly
But he
gonna
has
achieve?
a Spore Caller at each base, so he has a ring of detection. Like, he's gonna lose some drones, but you don't go Cloaked Banshee hoping to kill some drones. You hope to do quite a bit of damage, usually.
Yep. I mean, obviously, one thing the Banshees will keep him safe as well. If Snute would have gone for any sort of crazy roach rush or maybe even a link flood, then those Banshees can help out quite a bit. But I agree with you, Jeff. Normally, you don't hope for 2 drones and forcing a few spores. You hope for more. Is this Banshee gonna live? Nope, it is not. Wow, Snute, it's just on fire.
I do like this call from SpeCial, though. It's like, okay, I'm falling behind. He's going to take the relatively fast third CC, although kind of as I say that, I'm already kind of eating my own words because it's like, no, it's not even that fast. It's reactionary. He sees that there's a third for the Zerg, so he's like, well, I got to do it myself as well. We just know that he's fairly safe to do that. 1-1 melee upgrades and a Baneling Nest coming up for Snute. Snute doesn't go for like a crazy Ling Baneling thing, does he?
I mean, he can play whatever he wants. There's a good chance he throws down a Spire. He's like, it's kind of annoying in the previous game.
But I mean like a bust. There's a Spire.
No,
but he's not going to...
He doesn't have to, right? Like, why would you ever, like, right now be like, all right, here we go. All my eggs in one basket. He doesn't have to at all. He's still up in workers.
Yeah.
I think the main thing for Snute in this game is going to be, don't give him a fort. Like, that is the most important thing. Since SpeCial is actually floating his commands to the right side, that is obviously a full base. If he would have taken the safer one, he has only one refinery and less mineral patches. This does allow SpeCial to eventually take a safer fort, but it also makes it harder to defend this base. He's going to take at 6, because we all know about those Baneling run-bys that come from the right bottom side via the hallway. I mean, I would love to call it...
The Tasteless hallway?
I wanted to go there, but I was like, no, that stopped at Zalnaga Cavern.
No, he's got all of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, through 2018.
Okay, well.
It's okay.
Apologize.
It's just a bigger Tasteless hallway. But he's going to move across here. To your point, though, I like him taking that. It's just wrought with risk, like you said, but you're behind. You got to do something. If he just takes the mega safe base and just plays conservatively against Snute, who's probably an equally skilled opponent, I don't know that that's the best play there. He's going to push up here. A lot of Marines.
Yeah, but Combat Shield is not ready yet. Oh, those mines, they could have done a lot of friendly fire. Good Fox fire there on one of those Banelings. I mean, SpeCial is definitely doing whatever he can with this push, but normally he's not supposed to get a kill on this hatch, but he's starting to actually push out a lot of damage. Good mine micro, and he does get the cancel even before his upgrades are done, before Combat Shield is done as well. Wow, that was excellent.
He's turning it on. He's going to have to. Pushing forward here, trying to get some extra damage. Fighting back the creep, by the way. You'll notice he's targeting the creep tumors. There are a lot of queens, so they can repair that damage.
You know what I think is funny? That in general, people never want to take their in-base turret expand because it has like less gas and less mineral patches, but they always take the one in the center. They always take this one or the one on the bottom side. I mean, obviously you can say it's easy to defend because it's forward and you can push out the creep easier like that. But it's just in every matchup you see it. Like Terrans build a planetary there and stuff. It's like, okay, that doesn't seem necessary.
Just a rainy day base. Come back to it later. Yeah. Nice drop here in the main. One, Muta gets really low in health. Some Widowmine's going to burrow here as well. Got to look out for that friendly fire you're talking about. Ling's going to jump on top of that. And those are buff Zerglings. Another Widowmine goes off.
I mean, this was a very... This is an excellent mid-game right now for SpeCial. He's doing way more than we ever expected him to do with the disastrous start that he had. He is going to end up losing one medevac, maybe the second one as well. One thing that Snute still has going for himself is that upgrade advantage. His 2-2...
The medevac! Gosh! It's the one that has all the guys in it.
But Mutas could maybe chase it down.
No, they killed it. On the right side. Oh, that one you mean?
Yeah.
They're going to try. They're coming over here.
That fourth base for SpeCial is going to be hard to defend now. He just lost quite a few units, and it's going to be 2-2 against 1-1. I feel from this point on, Snute lost a hatch, but he didn't really lose any drones. Just start being a little more aggressive, Snute. It's okay. You're the one with the upgrade advantage. You don't have to sit back right now.
You have to talk very softly if you want Snute to come out of his base. It's like some kind of turtle or groundhog or something. But I do like what SpeCial's doing. If he's going to win this game and get back ahead, he's done good for himself up to this point. It's going to be off the back of aggression. Snute's the one that wants this game to slow down and be very defensive. It's SpeCial that's going to capitalize off the speed of this game.
I feel that if Snute would have taken this base in the first place, the left top side, I think he would have never lost his hatch. Because he's going to be able to pick up a couple of Widowmines. Be careful with the Banelings.
Nice.
Oh! Ooh, did you see how he moved that Overseer away?
He almost got it.
I would have panicked my Overseer above all my Banelings and
absolutely
shed it here.
So would have, was it Petit Drogo that lost? Was that the... What? Remember that? The Widowmine shots that blew up all his probes? That was Petit Drogo, I think?
The game on... I know there was a game on Sequencer, but I forgot who it was. I don't think it was Drogo, though.
Was it Haz? I can't remember. I got to get better at my meme game, my reference. But here we go. Good target fire there. Picks off a couple of Banelings. Even drops one to sacrifice a Marine for the Baneling. A good exchange. Got to keep the medevacs alive, though. Cannot be falling behind in that way. Drill upgrade, excuse me, going down here as well. So Widowmine play going to continue to be something emphasized.
I mean, SpeCial is Widow my play earlier on was excellent, and it was really one of the reasons why he was able to be so successful with that first push, where he only had Stim and 2 mines, nothing else really. The planetary is not done yet. Snute is going to apply some pressure. The upgrades for Major are about to finish up though. Snute was trying, he's trying to get fancy with a Baneling flank. That ain't working out.
This is not good for Snute. He had Banelings on the left side over there. Most of them got cleaned up. Inside his main army, he has a few, but his Baneling count's not super amazing from what I can see. And this drop, of course, is not... Well, I mean, if it gets the hatch, that's really nice. There's no drones there to kill. It looks like it will get cleaned up before any of that happens. So nice delay attempt, but ultimately it will be deflected. Now, it looks like if you look at that mini-map, nothing else queued up for SpeCial.
What I'm worried about is the creep spread. It's kind of... I mean, I know Sequence here is a very large map, and it's hard to always spread up ramps and stuff because you need to get vision, but this is not good for a 12-minute game. And when you play this style, I feel like you need more impressive creep spread. It does get a meta with a couple of units in it, but those
units in it,
you got to be very, very careful. Snute just lost like 12, 15 supply very, very quickly. Not sure where that happened. Maybe on the left side, he ran into this hit squad. I don't know. I'm definitely a little bit worried as well. Those
just get jumped on top of. Snute's hunting that left side army, but it's winning so much position, and SpeCial's trying to capitalize. Even a triple medevac drop over here, and it's not really being found, by the way. If you're going to dedicate your whole army to this, you got to find it at the very least. But if you look at the right side of the map, and Snute is as well. Okay, he does jump on top of it a little bit there. Yes, so maybe a good fight for Snute as he's able to get on top of that.
This is going to get awkward, Jeff, because Major has a massive army on the right side of the map, while Snute also sent a lot of units to the south side. Now Snute is going to bring everything back. So maybe he's going to try to sandwich that army of Major as SpeCial actually, decided to split up one of his drops. Do quite a bit of damage to this hatch. Queen is going to keep it alive.
Saved
oh my god.
The clutch transfusion from down under.
Or way above.
That's true. A better call there. I want to see how these Thors function in the army. We haven't quite seen them because we haven't had a real...
high, right?
Yeah, it's pretty high.
19?
It's not quite as many Swarmos as he had one game before, but it's a lot.
Gotta be careful there.
He's lost 9.
Like at this point, I feel like Major should just, or SpeCial, once again. Ooh, is this Tor? Actually, these medevac's starting to run very low on HP. Widow mines are splashing over these Mutas, but I might think they should be able to get one. Wow, good job.
Gets a lot of the Mutas dead.
Yeah, that's
a bit of a weird call there.
Minus 12.
He's building 7 more.
Good job. You see that one little link is like, I've got this, guys.
You can't land when I'm under here.
I need a siesta. That's what he was saying.
Yeah.
He went for it. Fights on the left top side of the map as well.
What are you showing us? Coca shows us upgrades? It's just Stim and Concussive Shell? What?
No +3 armor. I think that's what he's showing.
No?
No. It's just +3 attack.
Coca's mime game is not as good. He's saying he doesn't have Concussive Shell, I guess. Is that right? Okay. Finally, a big commitment here. The army shows up. It's going to be a big fight, but Ultras are already out. Oh, it's... Okay, there's a flank of Widow Mines coming in. They're like,
the friendly fire!
The friendly fire! Oh, I mean, and they do.
Killed actually a lot of Zerg there in the end as well, and at least...
Well, look at the supply. Look at the supply.
Well, once again, Snute has a little bit of a bank, and he has kindness plating up to this point. That's always hard. It's always a hard upgrade for Zerg to reach, but Snute has done it. Snute still has the base on the left top side of the map as well. Even though that is another planetary. And don't forget that SpeCial can still float over his main towards that very safe in-base turret.
Snute might be just going for this. He's going to jump
That's a lot
on top. There's not a whole lot of units here. If he can get up that ramp, I don't know if he's going to fully commit to it. It looks like he might. The Baneling's rolling over. Can they clear enough of the units? Units on the right side is most of the standing army for SpeCial.
Could burrow some Banelings as well. We just saw him burrow a couple of Zerglings, so why not?
Something that's
have no macro.
Really cool. Might get that orbital, by the way. A cheeky orbital. Why not?
Oh, and he did burrow a couple of units.
Will
the macro
get the moment
has been on point.
And now we're going to obsess over those 3 Banelings
for the rest of the game.
Something happens.
And we will miss it.
Do it!
Snute is going to dance around a little bit. He's going to try to engage into this.
That's not enough. No,
missile turrets and a planetary and a couple of depots to mess with the AI as well.
Snute, why? Of the fights for Snute to commit to, that's a weird one.
Freed up some supply.
I know, Coca. I know. Yeah. He goes back. He's like, still nothing, guys. Also, no concussive shell. Look at that Air Force.
+3 armor did finish up, though.
Yeah.
That's something.
Oh, the Banelings. Nope, just kidding. Gotcha, Coco. Stick bait, Nate. We've never done that. That's like new meta as a commentator. Get the observer. Drop top left. Now here's something to talk about, by the way. Where is Snoot's mining bases? He's got the rainy day base.
Yeah.
He's mining off the middle one, but the rest of his... Oh, he got the Widow Mines.
Yeah, they got a couple of Marines there as well, but it's important that Snute doesn't lose too much of his own economy, as he's been taking a little bit of a beating right now on the left top and at that, well, relatively safe third base.
Gonna try to run down. Nope, no more boost. No nitrous for you.
Ooh, more traps.
Oh, we get to obsess over that now.
That hatchery is still alive, but it has been taking a lot of damage. I love how SpeCial is creating a new main base here just in case he ever decides to actually lose his main. He's like, well, still got the right bottom side and can eventually make my way up. I think he's sending over a command center, is that correct? To that in-base third?
In-base third? The rainy day base, Coco.
Rainy base, okay.
There it is.
He did finally land his main. There are a lot of Zerglings here, though, so that's going to be hard. And these Lings got adrenal glands and very, very good upgrades as well.
Yeah. But the whole army comes over. Baneling's being morphed on top of this. And he can kite back against this. He doesn't have to stand here and fight. A lot of Ultralists, but they don't have any kind of stopping power. There is just a lot of them, though, I will say.
Yeah, that's... one Torah is going to try to save day. More Ultras coming in from the north side as well.
Block. The Planetary Fortress is going to need those repairs right away because they're getting chewed up. GG's called out. Snoot's going to take it 2-0 in this best of 5.
Amazing game there by Snute, but of course, let's not forget that he had a dream start. Kept his hatchery alive, was up 8, 9, 10 workers after that failed early game aggression by SpeCial. But this is not what we expected, Jeff.
No.
This is not what most people expected.
No, and it's been surprising. I'm walking onto this a little bit, but there's a gear that SpeCial hit at Austin that his TVZ looked like top-tier Korean quality. And I was like, okay, this is a guy who in this Zerg-heavy meta can cleave through it. Now, Snoot's obviously a very special Zerg, so he's not just your average Zerg, but SpeCial is getting handled here. Game number 1, we saw some cheeky mech play. Snute frustratingly never detected like 66% of the income, but was still able to do this back and forth slot, just this boxing match of a game. And then this one, Snute was never really in that much trouble, and if he was in any kind of trouble, it was very short-lived. Just did a great job.
It looked like one moment he was in a little bit of trouble, but he was like 2 upgrades ahead technically, and he was able to get up to Hive relatively easy. So even though this game looked close when it came to the numbers, and obviously there was one point where I was like, he doesn't have that much creep spread. It's important that he doesn't just chase around armies right now. He can't actually catch. But I mean, he was stacking up. He was keeping those bases alive. But once again, there is one thing we really have to add. Normally, SpeCial is early game. His very first, basically, wave of harass is excellent. It comes down to 1 medevac, let's say 6 Marines, a Widow Mine, a couple of Hellions. He's always able to get a couple of Queens. He's always able to get a handful of drones. He's always able to keep the Zerg in check. Right now, both games, he was incredibly far behind. I feel before the real production cycles were truly starting to kick in. And it's weird.
It has been a heck of a match so far, especially if you are a fan of this guy here in the lower right-hand side wearing the blue trunks from Team Liquid. It's Snute.
Playing his heart out to make his first finals appearance of 2017. On the left top side of Odyssey, we're looking at the main base of our Mexican Terran player. Give it up for SpeCial.
And I'll be interested to check the forums, check Twitter after this, because I do want to hear your guys' thoughts on whether or not SpeCial did make a mistake, or if we're misreading it and it's some kind of thing that, you can educate us on. I'm not afraid to admit that despite my massive bulging brain, there's just still more that I can learn, Kevin. There's more out there.
I mean, don't speak for me, Jeff. I believe that build was his intention.
Do you?
Yeah, I really think it was.
All right. So, I mean, it's a fair point, guys. Also help educate Kevin, because despite his massive ego, he too can learn things as well.
That is absolutely true, especially when it comes down to, many. I actually don't know, Jeff. I'm pretty complete, but no, I'm kidding. No, I think that, you know, at the end of the day, it is the proxy, and instead of going for Reapers, you just try to get a bunker up, and if the bunker is up, I think Snute is in a lot of trouble, but Snute just did a great job in making sure that bunker never get up.
I think it was put down and canceled or stalled 3, maybe 4 times.
Yeah, the drones, right? He just pulled the drones.
Yeah.
I had to think of Mr. Bitter, man. I got to give Mr. Bitter a shout out. It's always better to overreact than to underreact early game. And just overpull
That's
those
his quote?
He said that a million times.
That's not even, like, true.
Jeff, I said that. He said it a million times. I just had to nod.
It's better to overreact than to underreact.
Yep.
There's a reason why no one's got that framed on their desk or anything like that. There's no black and white picture of Mr. Bitter's big.
There's someone out there in the hills of Georgia that has that quote signed by Mr. Bitter.
It's always better to overreact to the early games than to underreact and to live to regrets it. No regrets. Mr. Bitter.
All right.
We love our people in StarCraft. You guys are having a good time. This game is a big one. SpeCial has got to bust out that extra gear, that gear we saw at WCS Austin, that gear we know he's capable of. This guy's qualified for the GSL. He's been training in Korea, but right now he is facing one of Europe's finest, and he's having the darndest of times. Getting scouted here a little bit, trying to stabilize. Where does he do it, Kevin? Does this game get mid-game? Is that his strength? Or if you're SpeCial's coach, what do you tell him to do?
Believe in your fundamentals. Just open up with, you know, what he's basically doing right now and try to get up to steam as quickly as possible. You saw how well he executed that very first push on Sequencer. That push was a lot later and weaker than it's supposed to be if he would have just had a normal opening. And he still got a lot of work done, and he still almost turned it into a real competitive game.
Okay.
I don't think SpeCial has to go too crazy. I don't think he has to get carried away with these weird builds, Mac. I'm not saying it's all bad. Absolutely not. But I think that SpeCial is good enough to just play very straight up bio.
Yeah.
Rely on upgrades, get a fort base, and just like let Snute play your game a little bit.
No, I agree. I think sometimes we do have these quote unquote kind of like mismatches where it's like, okay, you got to do something out of the box. You are the underdog, but that's not the case here. SpeCial is down 0-2, so that's where he's the underdog. But otherwise, I would even say for a lot of people, he was the favorite going into this. The voting that we saw from the viewers was very close, deservedly so. This was never going to be like an 80-20 type of thing, but I think a lot of people gave SpeCial a lot of credit here. Now, oh, okay, that's cute.
I mean, if this would have happened a year ago, then obviously everybody would have said like, Snute's on fire. But this has been a rough year for Snute so far.
Yeah.
It's not been a disastrous year. We don't want to make it sound that Snute has just been losing left, right, and center. But it's not been as good as the previous years. And not a good Zergling scout there. But he saw the tech lab, and he could be thinking of Banshees, but it's actually a Raven this time.
So we'll have to see if that reaction's going to be triple score color again.
This is like vintage SpeCial, you know, Hellion. Or 4 Hellions, medevac, drop it into the main, try to get a couple drones, pick them up again, don't overcommit. This is the kind of stuff that I feel like normally has a lot of success with, and it allows him to go into that early mid-game without really being too far behind. One Hellion gets picked off there. That's not supposed to happen.
It's obviously a mistake, but not the end of the world. Now, one of the kind of interesting things to watch for here is Snute so far, 0 spore crawlers, and that's amazing. He definitely scouts the tech lab, but it wasn't upgrading, so I guess that's enough of a tell for him to say, I think this is Raven, and I think that's so strong, because keep in mind, as you pointed out last game, Kevin, there's no lair, so he doesn't actually have any form of detection if it is Banshees, but he just is going to run the gambit a little bit. Never mind, I'm completely wrong.
He dropped 2 spores.
I'll be over here, Kevin. You go ahead and commentate the rest of this one, buddy. You got it.
I mean, these spores are going to be a little useful as well. It's not just against the Banshee. That's obviously one thing it can be against, but it can also be to do some damage on the Raven. Sometimes you get the final blow off. It can also help against medevac drops later on.
Thank you, Kevin.
So it's not necessarily wrong, Jeff.
Totally. There's super...
No, don't
there's
worry.
some use there. This time around, decent creep spread, by the way. That was something you pointed out last game.
Yep.
It's not like this is Scarlet level creep spread just yet, but it's connecting all the places we need. And he's got the queen count to continue that trend.
So far, what I'm just amazed by is that Snute is making everything look easy. His units are always in the right place. These 2 auto turrets are not to be underestimated, though. I would just probably pull my units away. Instead, Snute is going to lose only 1 queen and do a lot of damage to that Raven. Snute is playing out of his mind because he makes all of these defenses look easy.
Yeah.
But in similar series, we see a Zerg be like, oh no, you know, he just lost like 9 drones, and it's like, oh, it's a disaster. And from that point on, the game goes forward, but eventually the Zerg is just too far behind. So far, Snute absolute bulletproof.
Yeah. He's deflected all of this harass.
Look at that work account as well, Jeff. He's not doing this while cutting too much eco. He's like, no, he's actually macroing up like a beast.
Snute is looking to be in that championship form, and what a treat that would be. Should he win this, we would have yet another ZvZ in the grand finals, something that a lot of people have been clamoring for. There's been so many Zergs, but we had it ruined by Neeb at the Young Shiping tournament.
It's just Valencia, man. Valencia just always had a lot of Zergs. Last year we had Nerd Show, and the year before we had an all ZvZ final between True and Curious. So that's 5 out of 6 Zergs. We're last 6 finalists.
Something about it, man. It's in the paella.
Or the sangria. Can play Zerg even when you're drunk.
Yeah, probably. It's fruity.
Just kidding.
Fruity and alcohol. Delicious. This harass doing nothing, but does it win some space? Not really. Snoot's over here as well. Can we get a cancel? I don't know. It's getting low, but it's going to have to pick up and come back to that later. Going to do some cheeky elevator plays. Still knocking on this door with these Hellions. He's not doing anything.
Just trying to find an opening, but Snute, once again, he's not overcommitting anywhere. He sends the right amount of units, make sure he's not out of position. Obviously, the fort base took a little bit of a beating. Funka's trying to show us that the armor has not been researched yet.
Okay. And Snute is marching up, spreading the creep between all the bases, looking to be in top form. There's that Spire. This is actually kind of old school, almost Heart of the Swarm style, where the Spire, the Lair, it's all quite delayed off the back of well-upgraded Ling Baneling. And this is the situation you're kind of hoping for, is to be fighting on that creep with these units. SpeCial, very Marine heavy. Just now Combat Shield. I think that's a mistake too. He's fallen apart a little bit.
That is indeed pretty late. This Medivac is going to take a lot of damage and fly into that Spore Crawler, Jeff, that you placed earlier in the game. See, it always has a little bit of value. Perhaps the Queens could have taken it down anyway, but it doesn't matter. SpeCial at 150 supply, but no combat shield. There are no Widow Mines. That tank took a lot of friendly fire there as well.
All right, he's going to push forward here.
I'm worried, man. I mean, the first Miras are out. SpeCial needs to get a lot of work done here, and I'm not sure. Look at Snute. He's so confident that he's just starting a hive during all of this. He's like, yeah, you're being aggressive, but I'm not that worried.
No. This positioning's not that critical. Another tank does reach the gold minerals, and I think that's what he's trying to do, but I always get so worried when these slow pushes are pushing in this direction. It's giving Snute all this time to mass up.
A massive counter over here. Most of the Zerglings making their way to the other side of the map, but Major actually did leave a lot of Marines behind. So perhaps this is going to allow SpeCial to finally maybe apply some real pressure, but without combat shield, it's tricky.
Here we go. I see that mini-map swarm, and here we go. They're coming from all different directions. Going to go for the surround. He has the Medivacs to pick up. He does lose the tanks behind this. He's not picking up just yet, but he should be able to evacuate. We are off creep here. Just has to avoid any kind of detonations with those Banelings.
That's a lot of swarm.
Good target fire.
So Marine heavy this time, by the way. Where are the mines that we have seen in like all these previous games? He has 2 mines and 58 Marines. That's it.
Yeah, he's got a little bit tunnel vision, but if he can fight off creep and split really well, he can do a lot of damage. But that's a lot of Banelings. It's going to be a lot of splitting. A lot of Banelings. Wow.
And one big sandwich, and it can be all over. If a couple of those Banes connect.
And here come the 2 Widow Mines. 1 burrows now. Watch out for the friendly fire, though. You have a lot of Marines.
Major.
All right, first connection is good, but not great.
SpeCial is actually excellent when it comes to controlling Widow Mines as well, and he's often able to unburrow them in time or focus fire on the right part of that Zerg army. We do have that double drop on the south side of the map, as the upgrades have finished up for SpeCial.
Nice cancel there. SpeCial fighting for his tournament life right now. A couple of nice little moves here. He is up in supply, so...
Yeah. But it's very, very Marine heavy, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but means it's incredibly fragile.
It's volatile, yeah. It could be way big, and then a couple of Banelings, and it's all of a sudden back.
Yep.
20 supply just died somewhere. Maybe a drop was picked up. I mean, well, that lower drop was deflected. And now Snoot's just going to fan out. He's just going to try to buy some time. It is him with the 3-3 upgrades coming in there. We had Coca showing us that the upgrade's a little bit behind for our Terran player. No armor upgrades.
He's getting concussive shells. There you go, Coca.
Yeah. 1 game later. It is happening.
There's a couple of Zerglings going to get picked up over here as well on the left side. I mean, SpeCial is maxed out. He's getting now a Tor in the mix as well, so we're getting a little bit more diversity in this Terran army, but Hive has finished up. Ultralisk Cavern is morphing in. Adrenal Glands on the way. Those 3-3 upgrades already halfway done. I feel that right now it's pedal to the metal for SpeCial's tournament live, because if he's going to sit back, the army of Snute is going to be beastly.
And he's coming in on the right bases there, Rotterdam, something that was missing earlier. He actually attacks all the southern base attempts, cancels that. So Snute is just on 4 bases right now. One of them is a gold, but the gold only has 1 gas, so that's all good here.
14 extra bailings on the way as well. Snute would obviously love to get the wraparound on that army, but it's going to be hard without his plans being revealed. 1 queen takes a lot of damage. Gets picked off as well.
All right, big drop, just a few meters to show up, but it's enough to chase down that medevac and clean it up. And all of a sudden, that Ling counterattack again, not finding purchase. Here's the army, going to make another cancel.
That's a lot of cancels in a row. There are a lot of links. Let's take a look real quick at the left top side. Excellent SimCity by SpeCial, actually making it incredibly hard for those links to get in and get some sort of damage done. How many SCVs have gone down in this game?
The Widow Mines.
Couple of mines trigger forward. You got to be careful with those Marines.
Yeah.
So only not a single one. Wow, you can see how good the defense have been throughout this entirety of the game against all those run-bys. There have been multiple attempts of Snute over and over and over again to get economic damage. Not once did SpeCial not leave units behind. That's excellent.
I love the burrowed Zergling play over there, by the way. Look at the delay. I mean, a lot of people look at it and be like, just send something. But in a chaotic game like this, again, down 0-2, that's the kind of thing that can tilt you. It's the kind of thing that can
make it middle of the map. Let's take a look real quick as the Bailings are rolling forward.
Oh, wow.
Connecting with all of these Marines and SpeCial, perhaps sending a few too many units. As now he's getting surrounded as well. It's a massacre, Jeff.
He just ran back. He never picked him up. He's going to get ran down here as well. Snute has so many Bailings still alive that Widow Mines don't connect. He's going to pull back behind the deep
wall. That's a lot of Zerg.
There's no planetary fortress there to protect him. Does he have a force up on top? Yeah, okay, so I don't think he gets to the high ground, but so much damage dealt here.
And Jeff, you're spot on. I mean, that looks sloppy and silly, but it all comes back to that Bailing as multiple mineral lines are being ravaged right now. No SCVs died. Well, 40 SCVs just died. Just like that, multiple Ultras still alive as well. And it all goes back to that annoying burrowed Zergling.
Snute completes the 3-0 and is going to the finals. Congratulations to that Team Liquid player. It's been a long time coming. What a flawless ZvT. Yes. We were all hyped for SpeCial to put on a showcase, but it was Snute that came out with surgical play and shut it down.
Liquid Snute. Still alive, and he's back, perhaps to the place where he belongs, and that is a grand finals of a WCS event. Wow, what a series, Jeff. I have nothing else to add. Beautiful performance by the young man who's representing Team Liquid.
Absolutely phenomenal play. I cannot wait to hear from him. He's on the stage with Smix right now.
Thank you very much in control, Snute. 2016 was a fantastic year for you. You made top 4 several times. In fact, you made the grand finals 3 times. But in 2017, finally, you made the grand finals after 7 months. So tell me, what does this moment mean for you?
It's really good to finally perform this well in ZvT in the tournament, because I've always been good in practice, but every time I've had to play an important ZvT match, it hasn't gone that well because of nerves or I don't know. But so I was really happy to show some good ZvT. And yeah, it feels good. I'm excited for the next one too.
Let's talk about Abyssal Reef, because I felt like it started off so clean for you, and then when all those Stormhosts died, it turned into a much scrappier game. So walk us through that game.
Yeah, at some point I want to get rid of my Stormhost because they drop in usefulness over time. But I think I maybe threw away the Stormhost at perhaps a little bit of a wrong timing. So from there, it's kind of difficult to go back into Swarmhost again. So I had to rely a lot on the Vipers and the control. The Vipers fortunately did the work they had to do, so it turned out okay.
Now you have one more match to win if you want to become a WCS champion. It's going to be a laser, and in terms of map score, it's actually been very even. In fact, it's 48 and 48, so it's very, very even win rate. What do you think about him?
I think Laser has improved tremendously over the last couple of years, and I've heard he's been doing really well in Korea also. So I've been struggling personally in CVC in Europe, but recently, like the last 4 or 5 days before I came here, I started doing a little bit better in CVC again. So it depends on which form is strongest, like my last 2 months or my last 1 week, you could say, because I made some decent progress the last week, I think, but. We're going to have to wait and see because the Laser seems to be in top shape right now.
Well, congratulations again, Snute. And with that, our grand finals match is set. It will be Snute versus a Laser.
Holy cucaracha, we have Snute moving through into the grand final. 3-0 there, going up against SpeCial, and who would have thought it going into that series? A lot of people had SpeCial being able to do well here in the round of 4, but Nathanius, unfortunately for him, he fell to the might of Snute.
He was not able to make it happen, Kalaris, as Snute dealt with him very well. His builds early on did not put him in advantageous positions to carry forward. And well, the swarm prevailed, as they say. Very, very tough loss for Major.
Pig, your race doing well.
Yeah, I mean, Zerg pretty good these days. You know, I'm a bit of an every race man, but I mean, these Zerg players, it's not just the race doing well, it's the players doing well, Claris. Honestly, Snute has been working hard, and I feel it was just a matter of time until he made it back into a grand finals. He did it last year as well. He had a really good start to the year, but then he had kind of slow middle, and he kind of built up to Mexico, where he won that championship. This could be his opportunity here.
Yeah, it's not a name that we came into the tournament thinking that's going to be a finalist there, Snute, but it's a name that you can never underestimate, as is shown here, Nathanius.
Just career-wise, this is a huge win for Snute just to get here, because now we can say, yes, he belongs in the grand finals.
Yeah.
He is a grand final tier player. He hasn't been there. The names that keep popping up this year, SpeCial, Neeb, and obviously SpeCial himself has really stepped it up quite a bit. But we haven't been making a lot of noise about guys like Snute. And this is, I think this is a big, big win for him.
At the same time, so now we have in the grand final, we have who you could argue is the kind of younger up-and-comer, really, even though he's had some good results himself in a laser, going up against the grizzled veteran here in Snute. So a very, very clear clash here between the two, as Snute has obviously got a lot of championships under his belt, but Elazer, really one of the big first times he's able to try and make his mark here, and he's made his way here through almost entirely Zerg versus Zerg, so this is potentially good for him.
He's been warming up to it. You know, this isn't the first kind of hero figure that Elazer's had to kind of go through. He's already gone through Nurture, another player who was winning championships back in 2012 when Snute picked up his first one, and I think Elazer goes into this probably as the favorite in terms of his Zerg versus Zerg form. We've seen great play out of him. He's dispatched of True. He's taken out Nurture. And, I mean, Snute, there was a little bit of a question mark after Yenchiping, where Cham took him out in a very close series, a very exciting series, but one where Snute made clear mistakes. So I got to say that was almost a month ago. I'm sure Snute's been working hard, but no matter what, I mean, he better be, because Elazer definitely is going to be a big match for him.
Well, let's take a look at the bracket now to confirm exactly what's gone down so far here for WCS Valencia and what is to come as well. Our grand final is set for in just a few moments' time. We will have Elazer going up against Snute. And Nathanius, as much as Elazer has done well to get all the way to the grand final, I would argue that Snute's road has been much, much more difficult, going up against people like Neeb, sort of, and that bracket alone.
I mean, he's had the variety of matchups, right? The couple games against Terran, we haven't seen him play as much of that Zerg versus Zerg. Pig makes an excellent point. The games he had against Cham were actually really sick. We go back to like that epic base trade type game.
Yeah.
But that's not against a player that's at a caliber we expect to be reaching this far, right? Yeah. Cham is good, but he's not, he's not here, right? And Elazer has been performing very well, but I do think that Snute has the experience, the number of times that he's made it deep in these tournaments, that he's won championships, that he's been in the grand finals. I expect him to have a cool, calm, collected mind, and perhaps Elazer, maybe the pressure will start to, maybe reality will dawn on him when that grand final introduction happens, and you have to be so careful not to get caught up in emotions.
Our round of 8 overall was ranks 1 through 7, and then 9th was Snute. That's been dispelled now. He's moved himself into that top 8. So very, very impressive stuff here moving forwards. In just a few moments' time, we're going to have the war chest reveal here. Are you guys excited for that one?
Oh, yeah. That's actually, like, very rarely. I'm usually one of these super hardcore, like, I just care about multiplayer and tournaments. This is one of the few things I'm actually very excited for. I've seen a little sneak peek. Won't ruin anything. I'm very excited for it.
Nathanius?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be super cool. I'm a big fan. New stuff in StarCraft is always awesome. I play everything, so the more stuff we get, the better.
I mean, you're basically in the game, so yeah.
I'm literally in the game.
Well done,
and
mate.
there's going to be more stuff joining me there, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. All right, we're going to take a short break, but when we're back, stay tuned because we have the war chest reveal, and of course, right after that, we have the grand finals here for WCS Valencia.